What's up, guys? It's Bax, and today I'm really excited because somebody sent in a Caustic video for me to review, and I absolutely love doing this kind of content for you guys because I can show other people playing instead of just myself, and this is something I definitely want to do more in the future. So if you have Caustic video clips or content in general and you want me to coach it or review it, send in the clips to me through Discord. Let me know that's what you want me to do with it. And when I have time, I'll try to make a video like this. But I'm really excited for it. I'm not gonna try to be nitpicky. I'll try to just give caustic centric tips for gameplay. I will give general gameplay tips as well, but I will make sure that there's a difference between something that's just general regardless of who you're playing, and also if it's just for caustic. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm really excited to do this. All right, so today we have a caustic VoD review for Link8. He sent it to me last night and I want to give it a review. I will just do what I normally do for reviews. I will unpause it, pause it, talk about stuff, rewind. I'll probably skip through this video to get to the fighting. But I do want to look at some rotation stuff. I haven't looked at this. I'm going into this completely blind. And I'll do that for all the VOD reviews in the future as well, because I think that that's the best way for me to do it, to give my first impression. I can't think it over. It's just going to be what pops into my head. And I think that will be the best thing, because it can give insight on how I think, and we can try to see how people who send these in think, and maybe what they're doing, what they can improve, and what they're doing right. So let's get right into it. He's got a Bloodhound and a Rev. The audio on this was a bit scuffed, so we'll just go no audio for this one. It was like there's a lot of just background noise bleeding through. But we have a push up. They're getting Bloodhound scanned. A little bit in the open here, but good hugging of the rock right there for cover. I see also we're on mouse and key, so I'm excited to see some non-console boys rolling around. That was a good defensive trap right there. That one too. They're kind of tucked in, so if the people push you, they're going to have a hard time. And their chance of being shot out is pretty small. Some good wingman shots as well. See, look at that. This person tried pushing up, and they just got annihilated. I think they were knocked by a thermite there. But see, that's what's perfect here. Let me go back real quick. This rock right here, if we see it, it's perfect for these kinds of traps. Because if the enemy aggresses, they are not really going to be able to see them. They might hear them getting thrown, but the enemy has to stay away from the rock. They have to stand more in the open, whereas you can hug the rock and you have more line of sight on them. And that's exactly what happened. They ran through a teammate's thermite, but a lot of damage went out there from Link. And you have a little bit of a place to fall into where you can get beamed, but like right here, the guy runs up into the trap. He might have already been down, actually, but he's screwed either way. If he's up, you win that fight most of the time because of your positioning. So those were good traps around the rock. Ooh, that's unfortunate, getting beamed through. And now they're getting pushed. A defensive... and that's like a trap, but bigger. In the same way with the rock. It just... The enemy now has to go all the way around this rock, too, if they don't want to just run through the gas. So they have... we have some knocks happening here from the teammates. They are not the quickest on getting reses. There we go. Probably would have been better for the Rev to res, but again, this is not... That's not even about him. You don't normally want to make the person who needs to heal the most res, but I don't know if he plays with these people a lot. I would probably say in this situation, I would just... okay, the med kit's fine, but looting quick and then getting to cover would be the best bet here, because this is a rough area to be in. Okay, sorry about that. Technical difficulties, music singing too much. I'm not trying to be talking over voices singing. But yeah, as I was saying, I would be moving in quickly. The distribution of loot, I probably wouldn't do in the open here, because this is an awful place for Caustic. This whole area of the map by train yard is just a really open area with not a lot of cover, I would move into these areas because this area over here is actually perfect for Caustic to wander around in. So there's some looting going on. They're pushing up through again. Now with all the added stuff in this tunnel, it's actually not horrible to push through as Caustic anymore. So this is a nice place to rotate through if you're moving on this map, because there's a lot of places you can throw traps. If you do get shot at by enemies, there's a lot of places you can take cover. There's a lot of places you can trap. It's not as bad as it used to be. So it's not a bad place to push through. And again, you always want to be moving through cover as Caustic. So this was a good place to go through. And you can go down there for there's cover to fight from down there. There's still cover on here. You definitely don't want to push down to this area with Caustic though, because you're kind of putting yourself in a bad position. So if you're going to take the streamer tower, you're either going to go on the floor or up, because the streamer tower is actually an amazing place to fight at with Caustic, especially if your whole team is on the same floor. And we have a Revenant, so plays could come with that as well, with the totem. If you get sent back and the Caustic has it trapped up, they can't really push after, and you can easily get heals going. So yeah, streamer tower is a good place to go. That's a good trap. Very simple, but nice ones just to put in front. Just good ones to put, because they're hard to shoot out, and the enemy's almost always going to go through them. And even though when you come up out of the zip, you get kind of thrown forward, you'll go past the trap, so you might want to put them like here, so that they're in the trap for longer instead of like right on the ledge, because they'll just get thrown through that. They will be disoriented for a moment, but it actually will increase the time they're disoriented if you keep the trap a little bit back, and they will always set it off. So I would say in front of these areas right here, put the traps a little bit more forward so that they do a little bit more damage to people and disorient them for longer, give you more time to find the enemy and shoot at them. But still, those are good. It's good to have the traps like that. I mean, it's kind of like a basic Caustic trap there, but it's still, those are the things, man. When you're taking an area like this, these guys are holding it down for a minute. You want to trap up. If you're moving through, there's really no point in trapping. Sure, maybe later on you'll know if an enemy's running through, but it's just not really, I don't know, it's not really a fully necessary thing to trap up if you're moving through an area. Get some more fighting. They're chilling in streamer tower for a minute. Nothing wrong with that, especially when you're waiting for zone to close and you're waiting to hear a fight. Yeah, and they see some people. See a Revolt here's. I saw a Revolt in the when I was skipping. Yeah, not a bad place to use it, because if you get sent back, you go back into the building. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but I wouldn't be throwing traps like that, because a lot of enemies will just shoot those out. Luckily that it didn't go bad there, and you were able to pull that off because the Bangalore kept shooting at you. But you could have done a lot more damage. The ult there, I would say, is a little questionable as well. I don't really know if that ult was necessary. I might have saved that one. Because that ult in that situation, it does block people off, but like right here, you could have you probably could have just knocked that Bangalore and not had thrown any traps. You'd still have all three of your traps. That person's knocked. There's 2 knocks now, I think, and it's just 1 person left. So you don't really want to burn an ultimate when there's only 1 person left, unless it's an emergency, because you really want that for looting after the fight, or getting ready for a third party to come flying in afterwards, and then you can use it to your advantage. But having it down in this kind of situation is not the best, I would say. But yeah, that team, they're all knocked. See, some of these traps, like that trap, wasn't horrible, but I would just be looting instead of worrying about using a trap there. And you're at 1 trap left, so you kind of want to be, you might be shooting yourself in the foot if you don't have a lot of traps when you need them. They're kind of just getting needlessly shot out and thrown in some situations. But I saw some movement when you were looting. That's definitely good. I know you're on mouse and key, so you got that. You're able to move around. I would maybe even add some crouch spamming in there if you have that ability. Always also, guys, work on looting as fast as possible. The faster you grab items and you move on, the better. Because it's either going to help you do one of two things. Move to a more defensible situation, or find new enemies to go kill if you're aggressing, if you're going for high kill games. In this situation too, the zone's about to close, so moving is definitely the play. Because some people are going to maneuver to these buildings and they're going to cut you off. And they're going to attempt to gatekeep you out of the zone, especially with a zone like this. A little bit more early on. Bigger areas for them to just kind of hold without having to worry as much, and less chance of them getting third-partied and you getting bailed out from a third party. I hate climbing up these buildings sometimes. I see the trap there. I probably would have not used that one. A lot of times I see with Caustic, they will. Ooh, damn! Beaming with the wingy. I see you. 3-piece, just doming. But yeah, a lot of people just throw traps when they don't really need it, and I think that's the biggest thing with any Caustic to get better at, not throwing traps when you don't need them. Knowing when to just fight and knowing when to throw a trap is paramount when you're a Caustic player, for sure. But those are some good wingman shots for real. Absolute beam. See, I've noticed again you have your ultimate out. I know you put that one away, but if you have knocks happening and your whole team is up, you almost will never need a Caustic ult, because you're in a situation where, see, another trap not really as needed. Just go in for the kills at this point, like clean up and move in, because now your team is taking some damage from zone, and if you had just ran in and shot, you might have killed them faster, and your team could have ran in, taken less damage. But the traps aren't really needed. You're down a trap now if you're about to get third-partied. It's good you didn't use your ultimate there. But yeah, see, like, even that trap, I highly doubt anyone's going to be coming in behind you unless there's a call for it that I'm unaware of. But I doubt anyone's coming from behind. So what would be perfect now is for you to be able to trap up the tunnel you just threw a trap in. That was a perfect trap, actually. So you could have been spending a lot of time, too, looking for maybe like an R3 to drop for the alternator. But you weren't able to really loot much. And some of that had to do with just burning time, throwing traps instead of looting. Not horrible. Not horrible at all. But definitely something I've noticed with more inexperienced Caustic players and newer people. They throw a lot of traps. You're not doing it to the extent I've seen on some people, where they're just throwing traps all the time. But there's a lot of thought I see going into where your traps are getting placed, for the most part, in some of these, and that's the best thing about Caustic is, it's just like you're playing a moving chess game, and that's one thing I love about it. You have to place your pieces where they're going to help you the most. And because of Caustic's size, you have to know when to throw your traps. It's extremely important. It looks like you guys are pinging people in this building. This is when I would be getting ready. I think you guys are you might do a totem play or something. But if you don't have a Revenant here, you want to get ready to aggressively push this team inside, and because you have an ultimate, you have that opportunity for sure. Because I would be in that building right now. Even if there was another team, I would be taking that building, because when the third parties inevitably happen, you're in a building instead of outside of it trying to fight all these people off, because there's so many angles here where you can just get shot up and there's really nothing you can do. And as a Caustic boy, you're just going to get beamed. So we have a rev push into a building. This ending is kind of rough for Caustic, especially with people like this camping the top with a triple take. That's just going to be rough regardless. So I would probably be pushing up, wrapping around north to get around them, because I think they're going to have to drop with the next zone. And if you know where people are in a building, you want to take the building before them. And then if they're already in the building, you want to try to take it from them and just get a kill. Because again, that's easy armor swaps, and that's easy defense against a third party if they want to push you. Then you can take that team and kill them too, and now you only have a few squads left in the game. And yeah, there's a rat somewhere too. So yeah, that fighting right there, I would be taking that building for sure, like your teammate is, and I would have already been there, getting ready to fight anyone in that building, and then third party that team, those teams fighting outside, because people are going to start just collapsing here. Especially when you're in more like ranked games, you're going to have a lot more people alive in this zone. But yeah, this building's not in the zone, but you can still hold it down for a moment while you guys heal. Yeah, not bad. I mean, that ultimate's not horrible. And again, I said I wasn't going to nitpick. I'm not trying to nitpick that. That's not horrible. I wouldn't say that's like a bad one to throw. But when you come across somebody like that kind of just in the open, you can just get a free kill without throwing your ultimate. You want to preserve your ultimate as long as possible. And because especially towards the end of the game, you do have a gold helmet, but still you might not get a chance to get your ultimate back before the end of the game. Even with ultimate accelerants, you might not have time to use them while you're fighting all these different people. And as the zones get smaller especially, you want to make sure you have your ultimate as Caustic, because that will win a team fight and then stop the third party if there's 3 squads left. If you do start if you're in the last 3 squads and you start the fight, you are almost always going to be third partied. So if you have your ultimate and you use it, you don't even have to use it to kill that squad. You can use it to defend the third party, or you can use it to kill the squad and then maneuver around it to defend yourself. It's just the ultimate accelerant, or the ultimate from Caustic is one of the most important tools you can use, because the traps are a little bit more finicky, but the ultimate is just so important. So I personally probably wouldn't use this, especially with all these people in the open ready to just get destroyed, but I don't use perfect ults every single time. If you guys have seen the stream, you guys know I throw some fucking terrible ultimates. Don't beat yourself up over it if you throw an ult and it gets scuffed. Just know that you're going to have to play around that. That's rough. That's actually rough. Just 1 damage away from red. That is actually just rough. There you go. Red armor, easy. And see, especially having to push out into the open like this is where an ultimate accelerant would be perfect. That's a good trap right there. That is a good trap. Those are good traps. Your teammates can kind of chill in them while they loot, heal, and if anyone pushes, they're not going to have a good time. And that one, maybe a little bit teeny backwards, but like in general where it is, it's not going to get shot out. People are normally just going to run around that corner and they're going to get clipped by it. Or they're going to at least have to spend time shooting it out. So that was a good trap. That was a good trap. That one not so much, since it's in the open. It can just be shot. But again, at this point, people probably aren't going to be pushing you. And you know there's a rat and then 2 squads. And then there's a Loba in the open. And zone did not push to you guys. You have a minute. You're going to have to aggress to get across this field. It's just not a good place to be as Caustic. But yeah, you're getting that ultimate back, that gold helmet. Literally, if you are Caustic and you're playing with people that you play with, I can't think of a legend that needs the gold helmet more. Maybe Revenant in this situation for more totems, I don't know. But that just comes down to the situation. It comes down to calling out with your team. Some of the things I'm saying too, for sure, are for more of like a ranked situation. But you definitely want to play off of your team comp. And when you have a Caustic, especially with a Rev, I rolled with a Rev a little bit when I pushed Masters. And it was a lot of fun, the opportunities that we had. Oh, these guys, that guy just overextended for nothing. So that's an easy thirst right there. And then your boy could armor swap to that. And some of that right there, like you threw a trap, that time of you throwing that trap, as small and insignificant as it can seem, you could use that time to heal, reload, kind of just get into a better position. There really wasn't much point in these traps because no one's going to push out of zone to you. I also wouldn't recommend running around with the ultimate out as much because you you might get caught with your dick in your hand, and that's definitely not good. See, that's a good ultimate. Oh, I hate that. That happens to me a lot. That would have been a really good ultimate to get in there. Definitely be careful with the, with, like, being out in the open. But yeah, the trap back there, I wouldn't recommend it. I won't recommend that because it's kind of in the open. Ooh, yeah, so that guy's busted up for your team to come jump on. Nice. GG's, brother. Yeah, man. I mean, overall, you have good... Of all the things I would say as kind of a review, a little bit less traps would be perfect. Movement aim, I would always say to everybody. That's just something that it just comes with time and practice. But as far as Caustic goes, I can tell you're in the mindset of Caustic. You are thinking of how to play defensively with him even when you're playing aggressively, and that's perfect. Some of the traps, I would say just a little bit less traps. There's less time. Some of them seem more like panic traps, and that's something with just, it comes with practice of knowing when not to throw a trap, because you don't want to be standing there with your hands extended directly out in front of you when you could be shooting at somebody or doing damage or just moving, because it does slow you down. You could just be, you know, slide strafe jumping in there to get more distance close, because you are kind of just in the open here and there's nothing you can do. There's no cover. You have to push to this building and you know they're in there. So this is definitely the perfect time to that ultimate would have been perfect. The bars on these windows are just absolutely annoying, and this happens to me all the time, especially when you are moving. You guys might see me with my ultimates in this kind of situation when I know how important it is for me to get that ultimate into the window. I'm going to stand still and aim it. Even if that means I get beamed and destroyed, chances are the ultimate being in this room, they're all in, is going to let my teammates get the win. Even if I get shot standing out in the open. Like, so if you ran up and just stopped for a second, again, it's not the worst thing ever that it hit the bar in the window. It's just annoying. But that right there is a perfect ending for a Caustic. You have people camping in a building on the edge of zone, and you get to just bully them out of zone. So would have been a perfect ultimate. Really good, like, placement to do that. I would say that's the best ultimate you threw for sure. Here, definitely looking around for people. When that guy dropped, you could have maybe even gone for an armor swap or just stayed up on high ground there and shot the guy instead of dropping on him, because you dropping on him allowed him to see you. If you were up on this building shooting down and he's in the gas looking up, he's never going to see you in a million years. So you just get to shoot down at him. He's like, you know, fish in a barrel. There's nothing he can really do. But other than that, yeah, the traps, a lot of your defensive traps were really good, and it was good thought to put them where they were going. I would say a lot of your more just active traps when you're running around are not as needed, and I would say hold on to them. Just hold on. Not using traps is okay as Caustic. If you don't trap a whole bunch when you're moving around, that's not a bad thing. You don't have to feel pressured to constantly be using traps as Caustic. Especially now in the open, people will just shoot them out. Back with the Bangalore fight over here, or the Bangalore in this fight, I would have just came around this corner. You had a wingman out, you had an alternator. I would go, if I'm going to just spray, I'd probably pull my ulti out at this point. But yeah, I wouldn't have thrown a trap here. If anything, I might have thrown the ultimate. This would have been a time where you could have pulled it out early if you knew where they were, because you could have put the ultimate right here. And now that person's fucked. They can go nowhere without just burning in the gas for a long time and you just shooting them. They can't really walk forward right to you because you'll be shooting them. They can't walk over this direction towards the chasm because they would either fall in or just be burning the entire time. They can't climb because they're in front of you. They're just in a shitty position regardless. The Bangalore here seemed like they panicked a bit, and if they had just shot your trap right there when it was inflating, you just threw a trap really for nothing and they're going to beam you. But the traps in the buildings I saw, especially up here, were really good. These are the placements. One missed, but that's irrelevant. That's just a missed trap. As I said, move it back a little bit so that there's more time for them to roast in the trap. But those were good. Those were good trap placements in the building, because you just hold it. If they have to come through, they're going to get hit, and you're going to know that they're there. So your defensive traps are really good. It's not that your offensive traps aren't. I would just use less. Some of your offensive ones, especially at the beginning, were good. They were like defense, offense. You were tossing them. You did throw the ultimate on yourself as well when you were getting pushed, knowing you're probably going to get knocked, and that's a good way to preserve your life and give your team time to just annihilate whoever's standing in the gas. If they're low HP, you can knock them. I mean, that was a good ultimate right there. When you're going to die regardless, even if you just took this aim duel in this situation, after rezzing your teammate, you're so low. You're never going to win a duel unless someone's an absolute bot, and you never want to assume who you're fighting is a bot. You always want to assume there's like some sweat predator grinder, and always respect everyone you're fighting against. So what you did here was you allowed your teammates to get distance, get some heals off, do damage. You were doing damage with the gas. It just stopped the enemies from pushing. So that's a good one right there because... And this is all just... It just comes in the fight. It can't be something that's planned. It has to just be fluid with whatever you're doing in the fight. So I hope that wasn't too ranty. I do hope that, Link, I hope you can learn something from this as well. I do think that you have a lot of strengths here with Caustic to build from, that you can become a really solid Caustic player from some of these things that are just like very small tweaks you can make. And thank you so much for sending this to me. I had a lot of fun. I do hope it helped. Anyone watching, I hope it helped you guys as well. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about kind of this format. I love doing these. If you guys have clips to send in, send them in. And I'll do it whenever I can. You know, I absolutely love doing this kind of stuff. And I hope that the tips I gave helped. And if they didn't, Link, let me know. If they do help, let me know as well. In a little bit, in a few, like a week or so, you've been practicing. Let me know if the tips helped out, or if you've had a little bit more success, or maybe if you didn't, just let me know. I'm excited to hear either way. But that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that immensely, and I'll see you guys in the next video.